Eddie, eventful day. First of all, news on Dave Allen versus Christopher Lovejoy.
Yeah, unfortunately, not going to see that one on Saturday. It's been a nightmare, to be honest with you. I mean, look, as I said in the interview, we asked Chris Lovejoy prior to negotiations for the fight if he had a manager or a promoter. He replied no in writing, and we proceeded with a contract. He signed the contract, and then we found out that Don King actually has a promotional contract with him, which I think Lovejoy denied is no longer in existence, etc. But it becomes a mess. Had various conversations with Don King on Wednesday evening, very, very late. Spoke to the WBA. Everyone was working on our behalf to try and find a resolution. Gave Don an unbelievable deal, not just to make money from this fight, but also get Trevor Bryan, his heavyweight, out in our card in December. But it was principle for him. He just wouldn't let him do it, unfortunately. And I've tried and tried and tried, and I called him last night, and he'd made his mind up. Very stubborn man, and just decided that he felt disrespected by Chris Lovejoy, and he wasn't going to let him fight, which is a big shame for everybody. Because I said to Don, Don, if this fight doesn't happen, everybody loses. Us, Dave, Lovejoy, you, but he's just old school, and said no, send him home. So we tried. I was up all night working. We went Wednesday and late last night and did everything we can, but unfortunately, and I saw someone call, you should know about this. It's like there's no database. Unfortunately, you have to trust people when you ask them if they're under contract to anyone. And when you find out that situation, you do have to respect their rights. And I had to respect Don King's decision in that instance. Otherwise, there's a big legal case, and who needs it for that particular fight, to be honest with you. So we send Lovejoy home. Let him sort out his situation. He claims he's a free agent, etc. Okay, you do that. And if you are ever a free agent, let me know, and we'll make the Dave Allen fight. But Dave will fight this year. I made sure he was looked after, and he'll go away and prepare with Jamie Moore, and his new date will be announced shortly.
A couple of talking points from the way, and I think first of all, the start of Derek's appearance.
Yeah, strange one. Someone told me, I think it was Coogan, said he's on one today, because I think they did an interview and he didn't put it on him, but he was, just Derek gets in this moment where it's all good as gold, and I've seen it before. The weigh-in for the David Price fight, he walked in, he looked like he wanted to stick one on me, and he just, I think he does go through that time where he says, I need to prepare myself now for what I'm about to go through and what I'm about to do. Yesterday was quite friendly, a little hug, and I think David Hay probably had a word with him as well and said, no more of that shit. You need to switch on here and you be ready to go to war, especially with no crowd as well. You can't go into this fight friendly. From that first bell, he's got to viciously attack Alexander Usyk, and to do that, you need to have a certain mindset. So, interesting, what outfit, I don't know what it was, but Usyk looked quite shocked when he walked in, what's going on here? And when they got up close and personal there, I mean...
That was intense.
There's few people that I'm petrified of, and when Derek's in that mood, I'm petrified of him. When we're out, I bump into him all the time, no problem, lovely bloke. But when he's in that mood, he scares me.
He could go at any time.
Any time. And Usyk didn't back down. Listen, Usyk wanted to make, this is all about territory. Now, this is all about, we've got two lines down there, right? 2 meters apart. This is about, I'm coming into your area now, and I'm going to tell you what you're about to go through tomorrow night. That's what that was all about. And Usyk weren't going nowhere. But I think it got their attention. I don't know whether after the press conference yesterday, Alexander Usyk was thinking, this is going to be tough. But I think the whole team realised they have a fight on their hands tomorrow night. And I tell you, I couldn't think of anywhere I'd rather be than in the ring with Derek Chisora, right? Or I wouldn't rather be, sorry, in the ring with Derek Chisora tomorrow night, because he is going to be, on Halloween night, a complete pest. He won't stop, he won't quit. You're going to have to nail him to the canvas. And I'm not sure Usyk can do that. Don't get me wrong, gifted, but all of a sudden the advantages of Alexander Usyk in certain aspects have gone. So he's that good, he almost needs to be handicapped, in a fight, like a game of golf. You're playing off scratch, all of a sudden you're giving someone 18 shots. Usyk's handicap now is size and maybe strength and power. So he come at 15 stone 5 or whatever it was. It's tiny heavyweight, tiny. Listen, there's been some great heavyweights around that kind of weight, but it's difficult. He's given away nearly 3 stone. So, he's got bundles more skill than than Derek Chisora. Feet are on another planet, you know, shot selection, timing, but he doesn't have the strength of Chisora. But I just hope that we don't get a situation where Usyk goes back to his stall after 5 or 6 rounds, comfortable. You know, not a mark on his face, in control of the fight. He's got to be, after 1 or 2 rounds, sitting on the stool, you know, the legs come up, the arms come up, maybe a little bit marked up. You've got to put a dent in early. Yeah. Same with Lomachenko, yeah. You know, and that's what Lopez done well. You know, he took the fight to him, he made him fight. I think probably when Luke Campbell looks back as well, he probably thinks maybe he should have just forced the action a little bit more early. You can't let these guys get into a rhythm. Once their confidence grows, you start becoming deflated. You know, and we saw when Del boxed in Monaco, you know, his preparation was awful. He was 20% of the fighter he is now. But he got deflated after the halfway stage. And you can do that against Alexander Usyk. So the last thing we want is Del after 7 or 8 rounds. He won't do that because he's got David Haye, he's got Tony Bellew. And this means too much to him. Do you know what I mean? The world is watching. I can't wait, I can't wait. All the answers will be, you know, revealed tomorrow night from Usyk. Because this is, you know, people say about Usyk, he shouldn't just walk into the mandatory position. We know that with the WBO, when you're a super champion, if you move up a weight, you become automatic mandatory. Seems a bit strange for the heavyweight division to be able to do that, but this is the fight that will prove him worthy. And I think he wants that. He didn't have to take this test, but I think he wants to prove he's worthy, because he's that kind of guy.
And after the weigh-in, an incident at the rules meeting about glove selection, can you just talk us through that?
Yeah, it's just Igis Klimas just come up to me and said, look, you know, we're not very happy with the gloves. I'm not aware of this brand. You know, Fly is the brand. They've been, you know, being worn on British shows now for a few years. He didn't feel like they had a lot of padding in. They're the standard gloves that are always approved. And, you know, in every fight, the fighter will get an opportunity to wear the gloves of their choice that are approved by the British Boxing Board of Control. It's not like they're a new brand that just we brought in last week. And, you know, Igis just said to me, you know, what's the thoughts? And I said, well, the thoughts are a lot of people wear them and they're approved. So, you know, and I said, if Alexander wants to wear the Fly gloves as well, that's no problem. He can do that. And he said, well, what about Derek wearing the rival gloves as well? I said, well, you can go and ask Derek. He's over there. So, you know, everything's in order. There's nothing untoward. I think just from Igis' side and the trainer's side, they just hadn't seen that particular brand before. So, you know, some people have said, oh, do you think there's a little bit of nerves in the Usyk camp? I don't think Usyk's ever going to be nervous. He does this. This is what he does. You know, I saw him out there a minute ago. He walked past me. He goes, "What, Eddie? What?" I mean, I'm like, I'll be in my room hiding right now. So I can't wait. I can't wait. So 2 completely different characters, 2 great fighters, and Dell's going for it. You know, Dell's going for one of the greatest victories from a British fighter of our generation.
Just finally, closing on the weigh-in, George Cambosis Jr. is pumped up.
I know.
He's bang up for
I think if George Cambosis was my fighter, I'd be a little bit worried about how pumped up he is. I mean, you know, and Lee Selby, we know, is a fantastic counter-puncher, but it's interesting because I think the perception of the way to beat Selby is to push him back, is to, you know, they think Selby's not strong at lightweight, he's a featherweight. See the size of him today, you know, he's a huge lightweight. But I think the perception, when you look back to the Warrington fight, is get on top of him, you know, relentless work rate, just outwork him and beat him up. But Lee Selby's also a counter-puncher, you know, he'll want you to do that. But I think Lee's going to have to stand and fight at times. I think it's going to be a war, that fight. I think you're going to see blood, I think you're going to see knockdowns, and I think you're going to see a really uncomfortable fight for Lee Selby and both men. But, you know, Selby has the pedigree, Cambosis doesn't, but he is talked about as a new lightweight star in a division that's red hot. The winner gets Teofimo. It's a massive fight, and it's a real 50-50. And, you know, Hannah Rankin and Savannah Marshall, both ready. You know, you see the head-to-head, you see, you know, Hannah Rankin is just like, Savannah's cool. Savannah looks great at middleweight. You know, you can see how the body's changed coming down from, you know, probably 12 stone 2 or 3 back to 11.6. Looks really good. But Hannah Rankin will be in the same thing with Cambosis. They will say we've got to pressure Savannah Marshall. Technically, she's too good for Hannah Rankin. But over the championship distance, she's never been tested in this way. So I imagine the team of Hannah Rankin are saying, pressure, pressure, pressure. Make her fight 2 minutes of every single round. And It's a great fight. Listen, we're kicking off with Amy Timlin against Carly Skelly for the Commonwealth title. It's a great fight. Cash Farouk looks great. Can't wait for Tommy McCarthy against Bilal for the European Cruiserweight Championship as well. So big night. We're going to be kicking off up just after 5 p.m. all the way through till 11:30. So over 6 hours of action, and can't wait. I go to bed very curious about a lot of these fights tomorrow night, and I don't know which way they're going to go, but I believe you'll see a lot of upsets and a lot of drama, because behind closed doors has tended to give us that.
Job done. Thanks very much.